Hi! Well, that intro was way too fucking long. Hi and welcome to this video where I show you strategies on how to win games in League of Legends. This will make your win rate go up by 100%, not clickbait. These strategies require at least some experience with League of Legends, as it's not very useful if you stop a wave directly in front of your turret if you miss every single CS. Another few things that could come in handy is knowing what champions do, what items do, what minions do, what turrets do, and watching the other video on my channel. So without further ado, let's get started with trading. Not really a strategy and more of a principle, but it does the trick. When trading in real life, you wanna haggle until you're satisfied with the price for the item you wanna buy. In League terms, this means that you wanna gain something from the enemy that is of much higher worth than what you give the enemy. A good example for this would be trading a cannon minion against 75% of the enemy's max HP. This is obviously a bad trade for the enemy because he won't be able to lane anymore and loses all the gold and experience from the other minions. Winning trades like this eventually lead to you becoming much stronger than the enemy and by that winning the lane. Applying wave management strategies will make it much easier to get these winning trades. But before that, one more term, which is punishing mistakes. Challenger players are challenger players because they immediately identify the mistake and punish their opponent for it. So, your opponent wants to walk up for whatever reason in a range versus melee matchup, punish him. Your opponent wants to walk up for CS in a melee versus ranged matchup, punish him. Your opponent wants to walk around the map for whatever reason even though you have a lot of minions on your side, punish him. Your opponent wants to take your firstborn child, call him Rumpelstiltskin. The opponent threatens the life of your family and knows where you live, call the police. You should know what I mean. Now that that's out of the way, let's get started with the wave management strategies. The first and most interesting strategy is freezing. Freezing means to keep an enemy minion wave directly in front of your turret. This leaves the enemy open for ganks from your own jungler and also makes trading a lot more easier because you have the turret to back you up. To create a freeze, the opposing side has to push into you. Without champion interference, the push will always happen towards the side that has less minions than the other. You can create a minion majority by having the enemy attack your minions while you only take the last hits of his minions. Just to be safe, last hitting means to not attack the minion at all until it's almost dead and then deck them in the face. The second part of the strategy is to have the minion wave stop right in front of your turret. You can achieve this by tanking the minion wave until your minions arrive. As you can see, the wave is now Elsa'd in front of my turret. You know, because it's frozen. I'm just gonna hijack a plane! The next wave management strategy is slow pushing. In slow pushing you want to try and get as much minions as possible under the enemy's turret. You can create a slow pushing minion advantage by killing one or two of the enemy's caster minions in the backline. This should let you stack about 2 or 3 minion waves, at which point the enemy won't be able to tank them anymore for a freeze because you would take way too much minion damage. You can prepare a slow push even further by poking the enemy down and getting them ready for a dive. If you manage to kill the enemy by having 3 or 4 minion waves stacked under his turret, you will immediately win the lane as he won't be able to come back from losing all of the gold and experience. Opposite of slow pushing is fast pushing, which is the easiest strategy of them all because you literally just have to kill all of the enemy minions as fast as possible. Fast pushing is pretty useful if you want to punish the enemy for leaving the lane or if you want to help your jungler without losing too much experience or gold. If you know how to freeze, slow push and fast push, you can take these strategies to create some even more advanced ones. 2 of these are the cheater recall and bouncing. So let's get started first of all with the cheater recall. The cheater recall was invented by this guy. And basically gives you the option of going back to base, buy another starter item, go back to lane and have an immediate item advantage on your enemy. 2 preconditions for the strategy to work are that you are not getting completely bullied out of your lane and that you can at least mediocrely wave clear. The general idea behind the strategy is that you slow push the first 2 waves in the game and hard shove the 3rd wave. This should get around 1 full minion wave under the enemy's turret, which should give you enough time to recall, get an item and go back to lane. The pretty much free item advantage makes this strategy very valuable, which is why you want to use it whenever you can. The cheater recall strategy also includes another advanced strategy, which is called bouncing. To make it quick, bouncing means nothing else than to push a big wave under the enemy's turret and getting a big wave back from it. There honestly isn't much else to know about. Next up is roaming. Roaming means to leave your lane and become an additional jungler for a moment. It's mostly a viable strategy for mid laners and supports, as mid laners have short paths to other lanes and supports don't necessarily need to be on their lane since they have their ADC. In order for you to roam effectively, you need to have a good understanding of how wave management works. Power roaming can be like a bludgeon to your lead. You need to pay attention towards your wave, how good your gank setup is gonna be, and how much vision you have on the enemy jungler. Obviously you shouldn't go roam if you lose more than you get out of it. A good gank setup like a Malphite ult will almost always guarantee a kill. And well, you don't wanna get killed by the enemy jungler while roaming. You can also just go and increase the pressure on the enemy lanes by pretending to go roam, but instead just placing some vision around to help your teammates. You can also hard counter a roam by pushing and getting some good damage on the turret. Last but not least, I wanna mention warding. Warding is very important as it gives you vision, but everyone, including me, forgets about it. Whenever you have free time, just think about where the most annoying spot to ward would be right now for the enemy and place a ward there. Clearing vision is just as important, so if you have a lens, do it. Okay, now to quickly summarize: freeze when you can punish your enemy with it, slow push when you need to go roam, go base, or can kill the enemy under the turret, hard shove the wave if the enemy is gone and you're near the turret or you wanna help your own jungler. Use the cheater recall tactic whenever you can in the early game. Bounce the wave has a good setup for a freeze. Go and roam only if you know for sure that everything is set up perfectly. And finally, but most importantly, go and ward. It helps your team. Ward. Yeah, but that's about it. That's everything I can think of right now. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, then good for you. Subscribe or something. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye.
Hi, Jacob Lane!